Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Bobcat Corner. This is episode number 59 of Bobcat Corner. I'm your host, Stephen Vitt, and let's get right to it. Wasting no time here. We're going to start with something that was regularly scheduled. This was in the plans initially, anyway. And we're going to be talking about first here contenders for the college football playoff as far as the group of five, six number conferences go. And for starters, I'm going to be sharing with you a quick graphic that I made here. Just whipped it up on the fly. And this will just show you visually the teams that I'm focused on, the teams that I'm going to go with as far as choices for uh, that all important spot in the college football playoff. And yes, I am going to put like an asterisk next to a couple of these teams because technically they're seen as either quasi independent or independent. So technically that doesn't really apply, but I'm still going to mention them anyway because by all intents and purposes, they are considered to be in the level of the G number level conferences. So I'm going to mention them anyway. So let's just get right to it. I did this same thing last year uh, on Bobcat Corner when I went through my picks as to who would make the college football playoff out of the group of five, conference level. And funny enough, one of the picks that I made there last year was indeed Boise State. And guess what? They made it as the representative of the G number level conferences. And so here again, we're just going to start with them yet again because I'm just going to break it to you guys. The Boise State Broncos, they are indeed the team to beat in the G number level conferences right now until proven otherwise. I think that's obvious for all of us that are following college football right now, especially in the G number level conference level. And speaking of Boise State, they're returning quite a bit of players from last year, although running back Ashton Genty will not be back with them. Ashton Genty went on to the NFL, and good for him. Who is coming back to the Boise State Broncos, though, it would be quarterback Maddox Madsen. Maddox Madsen, he's going to be very critical for the development of the Boise State Broncos going forward. And honestly, guys, I do expect Maddox Madsen to take that step up as a quarterback, as the leader of the team. Um, I have no doubt that Maddox Madsen is going to do that for the Broncos here. And so with Maddox Madsen last year, if you were paying attention to him, not just Ashton Genty, but also the quarterback, Madsen, he completed 224 of 361 passes for 2,714 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Now, one of the things that stopped Boise State ultimately, and we saw it in their game against Penn State in the Fiesta Bowl, in the college football playoff, was that Maddox Madsen did not really get going all that much. I mean, he made some throws here and there, but he didn't really get going. And that was like a key point that I kept trying to make leading up to that game. It's like Madsen has got to step up. Can't just be about Ashton Genty and nobody else. Well, this year we're going to see if Maddox Madsen can make that step, can take that critical step forward. So, yeah, I do believe he can do it, and I do believe the Boise State Broncos as a team can just do it, can get back to the college football playoff as the G number conference level representative. So the schedule, we're going to check out schedules here. I'm going to link all these schedules for these teams down below in the description box so you guys can follow along here. By the way, Boise State, their schedule looks something like this. Check it out real fast. Yeah. The three games that I think you guys should be paying attention to for Boise State's schedule would be uh, the season opener at USF at South Florida. They're going to be traveling across the country to Tampa, Florida, to face the South Florida Bulls. That right there is going to be immediately an interesting game. August 28th. That's coming up here. So look out for that one. And also going to South Bend, Indiana to face the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, the runner-ups of the college football playoff last year, October 4th. So that's going to be a fascinating game. Boise State at Notre Dame, that's a dream match, if anything. So look out for that one. That's going to be the closest thing to a sure loss for Boise State, although let's just hope that they look good in the process. And of course, their rival UNLV, at least for now, Mountain West Conference rival UNLV, Running Rebels, they're hosting UNLV on October 18th. So those are the three key games you got to pay attention to for the Boise State Broncos. Moving forward here, we're just going to go over to the American Athletic Conference now. Memphis Tigers. Now, I went back and forth between a few teams along with Memphis here. I decided to go with Memphis for my pick because I believe that out of all the teams lined up there in the American, I have to call it the American Conference, not American Athletic, excuse me. Out of all the teams in the American Conference, I think Memphis does have the easiest path to getting to the college football playoff. And so, with that said, they have a transfer quarterback from Nevada, Brendan Lewis. I'm assuming he's going to be the guy who's going to take the snaps at quarterback for the Memphis Tigers. He played 12 games last year for Nevada, 211 of 312 pass attempts completed for 16 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Schedule for Memphis looks like this: 3 key games here for Memphis. Actually, 5. Correction. Arkansas, September 20th, hosting Arkansas. We know about that SEC team. Hosting USF, the South Florida Bulls again, October 25th. Memphis is hosting them. Then you have this stretch of 3 games to close out the season for Memphis, which will go either way here. At home against Tulane, Green Wave. On the road at East Carolina, and then finally at home against Navy. So all 5 of those games, if Memphis can get through most of those 5 games I just mentioned, I think they have a clear path to get to the CFP. Moving on here, going down to Conference USA, Liberty. I chose them last year. I'm going to choose them again this year. Liberty, Flames. They have a good wide receiver in Elijah Canyon. I'll just use him as an example. 25 receptions, 354 yards, 3 touchdowns last year. Look out for guys like Elijah Canyon at wide receiver for Liberty. I expect him to do good things for the Liberty Flames. So the schedule for Liberty goes like this. Key games would be at Jacksonville State, September 6th. At Bowling Green, we know this school well, MAC school. At Bowling Green, September 13th, the next week. And then the week after that would be at home. Liberty will be at home for this, hosting James Madison. If Liberty can get through those 3 games that I just mentioned in a row, because those are like 3 games in a row right there, they should have a clear path to the CFP, because look at the back half of Liberty's schedule. It is very, very easy. At least on the surface, it looks that way. So keep an eye on Liberty from Conference USA. And let's go to the Sun Belt Conference. Coastal Carolina. I'm going to check on them for a little bit. They have a key player, wide receiver Cameron Wright, 19 receptions for 314 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, expect players like him to break out for Coastal Carolina again this year. I would assume so. Key games for Coastal Carolina in the Sun Belt would go like this. At home against East Carolina, September 13th. And then they go on the road at Boone, North Carolina, at Appalachian State, October 18th. Then we have these 2 other games here. At South Carolina, SEC team. That's going to be a true test for Coastal Carolina if the Chanticleers get through most of their games unscathed. That's going to be a true test to go down there to face the Gamecocks of South Carolina, if they're going to be really motivated or not. And then lastly, the week after that, November 29th, at home against James Madison. So those are 4 games right there for Coastal Carolina if they're going to make a run at the college football playoff, that spot. Just something to note there. And let's just go up because I got to get it out of the way. The Mid American Conference, the MAC. Yes, I'm kind of hedging my bets here. I'm kind of like going two different ways here when you see the graphic here, Buffalo slash Ohio. Now I know I should probably just pick one, but it's very close, guys. When you evaluate all this, it's very close. You can go either way with this. Uh, if you were to ask me who has the easier path to get to the CFP between these two teams, of course I would choose Buffalo. Don't get me wrong. Realistically, I would choose Buffalo. They have the easier path to the CFP. Comparing them to Ohio, I get that. But here's the thing that I'm hoping you guys are considering and have been considering ever since I started talking about the Ohio Bobcats schedule is that yeah, you got to be prepared for the worst case scenario with this 3-game gauntlet that the Bobcats are starting out with. They could start out 0-3. They could. No doubt. They could start out 0-3. But have you guys considered better case scenarios? Have you considered possibly, quite possibly, even if the Bobcats finish that gauntlet 1-2, as I alluded to in just the past episode here of Bobcat Corner, even if the Bobcats get out of that gauntlet 1-2 and they run the table right after that, uh, just keep an eye on the Ohio Bobcats, see how they respond after losing those games, any of those games of the 3-game gauntlet here. Because that's going to be a true test of their character as a team, the Ohio Bobcats. I'm not going to go through the schedule for the Bobcats. I've already done it a couple times already. So I'm just going to focus on Buffalo here, on making their case. When it comes to Buffalo's schedule, they have, starting out for the Buffalo Bulls on August 28th, they're going to go to Minnesota to face the Golden Gophers of the Big Ten. That's probably going to be probably going to be a loss because of the talent gap there. But I do expect Buffalo to give Minnesota some fits. And then we get to this game that I'm considering to be very interesting here. Buffalo at home, Buffalo hosting UConn. I'll get to UConn in a minute. Uh, that's going to be an interesting game because of what's going to shake out here for standings and rankings and stuff like that. Keep that in mind, especially if UConn has a good start to their season. Another game for Buffalo, key game for Buffalo, would be at home against the Miami, Ohio Redhawks, November 19th. Now, depending on where Miami is in the MAC standings, where they're going to, stand along with Buffalo, that's going to be interesting. And of course, the season finale, Buffalo is going to be hosting the Ohio Bobcats November 28th. And I've already said it. That's the most troubling game for me as a Bobcats fan. I have to say it. So, yeah, I do see a clear enough path for Buffalo to make some noise here for this conversation of representing the G number level conferences for the CFP. I can see it for Buffalo, no doubt. I can see it. So yeah, either you can't go wrong either way between Buffalo and Ohio. As far as Miami of Ohio and Toledo go, you can make some arguments about the MAC as far as winning the MAC championship goes, but as far as representing the CFP, I'm leaving out the Redhawks and the Rockets. I'm just going to do that. Sorry. Anyway, the honorable mentions here that I have to make here before I close this out. Let's start with UConn because, yes, they are, even today, they are trying hard to get into a Power 4 conference, either the Big 12 or the ACC, and I do believe that's going to happen one of these years eventually. But as of right now, they are considered a G number level conference caliber school as of right now. So I don't think it's wrong to mention them here. So you're probably going to be asking me, okay, what's going on here with UConn? What do you see in UConn? Well, check their schedule. They have a lot of winnable games this year for them. And yes, they do have 3 tough games, in my opinion. And the 3 that I consider to be tough for UConn would be at Syracuse, September 6th, at Buffalo, I just mentioned that, September 27th, and at home, UConn will be at home, but they're going to be hosting Duke of the ACC. Those 3 games are going to be very difficult for UConn, no doubt about it. But pretty much every other game that you see there on UConn's schedule, including that one game against Boston College, uh, those are all very winnable games for UConn. I'm being honest. And when you look at UConn's roster, UConn is loaded on defense with seniors. They have a lot of experience on their roster right now, seniors and juniors. Look at the defense alone for UConn. And quarterback Joe Fagnano, seventh year player in college football. Joe Fagnano, quarterback. He completed 184 pass attempts last year for 1,480 yards, 18 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's a transfer. He's coming into UConn. So just watch out for the entire cast of characters there in UConn. I have this feeling UConn is going to make more noise than what people are going to give them credit for. Keep an eye on UConn. And anyway, lastly, I'm going to go up to the Pac-12, highlight the Oregon State Beavers real fast because all reports are indicating that when it comes to governance of college sports and stuff like that, all reports are indicating that excuse me, all reports are indicating that the Pac-12 are just going to be considered a G number level conference, you know, kind of thing. So with that in mind, Oregon State, look at their schedule. Oregon State does have tough games at Texas Tech, September 13th, at Oregon, their rivalry there between the Beavers and the Ducks, September 20th. October 4th, they're going to go at Appalachian State. They're going to go cross country to Boone, North Carolina to face Appalachian State. And then they have 2 games scheduled, a home and home kind of thing set up against the Washington State Cougars, Wazoo. Uh, those 2 games at home, November 1st, and then at Washington State, November 29th. And a big reason why I believe Oregon State is going to be in this conversation for getting an at-large spot in the college football playoff would be because of transfer quarterback Malik Murphy. I've heard of a lot of positive things about Malik Murphy as a player and what he brings to the table. I've seen some film of him, making good plays on the field. I happen to believe that Malik Murphy is worth the investment as a quarterback. So I believe the Oregon State Beavers are going to be in this conversation as well. So you compile all this together. You see all these teams on your screen, and you can make some sort of case for all of them. It may not be the most compelling argument ever, but you can make some sort of argument for them. You can pick apart their schedules and you can go through their rosters and you can make a case for, okay, I can see why they can go on a run here and get that spot. And as I started this by saying that Boise State is the team to beat, and I still believe that, there is that possibility that maybe, just maybe, Boise State could slip on the banana peel, so to speak. Boise State could slip on the banana peel and just lose a couple games that they're not supposed to. And then what? Are you still going to pick Boise State? Might have to reevaluate that, guys, if that happens. And I'm only saying if, we have no idea what's going to happen this upcoming season. This is like one of the most up in the air kind of regular seasons that I'm going to be seeing, in my opinion. So we're just going to have to wait and see what happens here. Let me know what you guys think in the discussion, in the comment section below. Let me know what you think, guys. Am I way wrong about this? Am I somewhat kind of right about it? Or are you just like indifferent about it? Either way, just please provide comments down below. Helps me out with views here. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on this. You can see the clear paths for all these teams. So yeah, I'm going to be switching it over to another part, which is going to be very important concerning Ohio University. Be on the lookout for that one. Take care.
Roll Tide. Eddie Bama here, coming back. Took it a break, but hey, I'm back here, all the way from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I'm just here to say this. Paul Feinbaum, he knows what he's talking about. He works at ESPN. He knows what he's doing. He's doing a great job promoting Alabama and promoting the SEC. It just means more, as they say. Roll Tide. And as for the college football playoff, yeah, let's just take all the SEC teams and put them in there because we're the best conference, bar none. Roll Tide. Go Crimson Tide of Alabama. Roll Tide. I could be here all day just talking about the Crimson Tide. Who cares about any other team? Roll Tide. Look at my face. Ain't that a good face to talk to? Roll Tide. Bruce the Goose is loose, and he's got the apple juice. My name is Bruce Kalamazoo, and I am the newest addition to this team. How do you do? I've never seen you before. Who are you? The newest addition to the team. Haven't you heard? Why are you wearing a funny hat? Never mind that. I'm just here to tell you that we should be all fair and give every conference an opportunity to compete in the college football playoff. What do you mean? Here's what I mean. We have good teams here and there in the Big 12 and ACC, for example, and they want to be in there too. So why can't they? Oh, never mind them. They're just, typical teams. But one thing that you're forgetting, Alabama, is that this is about the whole country, not just one part of the country. Oh, roll tide yourself. Who are you anyway? Supposed to be a clown? Supposed to be a court jester? Oh, really? Is that what you think, buddy? As I said, I'm Bruce Kalamazoo. I come from Spokane, Washington, and it's pretty good, pretty good trip all the way from there. I don't care. Roll tide. You're just a clown. Bunk on the head. Oh, that's Bruce Kalamazoo to you, buckaroo. Now, how do you do? Let's get on with the show, shall we? Ta-da.
Okay, welcome back from intermission. Hope you enjoyed that little comedy skit. But yeah, anyway, let's get on to more serious matters here, and especially this topic that I'm going to be talking about to close out this episode. And this would be about the fact that Ohio University is now officially looking for a new athletic director. Now, on one hand, this did catch me by surprise, but on the other hand, when I'm thinking about it now, it doesn't really surprise me all that much in light of what everything else has been going on lately. Now, backtrack this to right after the MAC championship game was played in December of last year. Of course, the Ohio Bobcats emerged victorious. They won 38-3. But not long after the Bobcats celebrated that uh, conference championship victory, um, their head coach, Tim Albin, decided to just get up and leave. And this has been a topic that I had not been wanting to discuss for the longest time, and I'm just going to talk about it now briefly because it is going to segue into what just happened here with the athletic director position. Now, it is no secret that we're in a new era of college sports. We're in a completely new landscape in college athletics, where the name of the game, unfortunately, guys, is that players, coaches, staff members in general, they're just going to do what they're going to do. They're going to take the money and run. And I'm not saying that's the case for everybody that's in these positions, but for a good chunk of them, for many of them, guys, this is what it's going to be. This is how it's going to be. Case in point, the first example I just used, Tim Albin, he decided to take a job at Charlotte, UNC Charlotte, He's now the head coach of the Charlotte 49ers. And main reason was because of money. I mean, regardless of what Tim Albin himself may tell you, in press conferences and stuff like that. The fact of the matter is, guys, Tim Albin just took the money. He just he did not see what he had here exactly at Ohio. He only saw the dollar figures. He only saw the bank accounts, so to speak, and he decided that Charlotte was a better situation for him for whatever reason. I do not expect Tim Albin to have the same success here with Charlotte than he did here with Ohio. I just don't see it. The American Conference is much more competitive compared to the MAC. And Charlotte 49ers, I mean, yeah, they got some resources up there in North Carolina, but it's not the same thing as UNC or NC State or schools like that. Charlotte is nowhere near that. So, Tim Albin, he made a business decision. He went with it. Fine. I mean, I can understand it, but also fine. So, segueing into this, Julie Cromer, who is now the former athletic director of Ohio University, she was in that role since August of 2019. And conveniently enough, August 2025, she decides to step away from that role to join LSU down there in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, to be with the LSU Tigers. And I'm going to pull up this article here, read a little bit of it for you guys to check out. This is from the official Ohio Bobcats website. Ohio University to launch national search for next athletic director. Ohio University will launch a national search for its director of athletics following the announcement that Julie Cromer will depart Ohio to assume the role of executive deputy athletics director / chief operating officer (COO) at Louisiana State University, LSU. Cromer was appointed director of athletics in August 2019, becoming the first woman to lead Ohio's athletics program and one of only a few women in the country to lead a Division I football bowl subdivision FBS athletic departments. Over the course of her tenure, she elevated Ohio athletics through a shared commitment to academic achievement, competitive excellence, and student-centered leadership. And I'm just giving you the gist of this article, reading very little of it, but I'm going to attach this below in the description box for you guys to read in your own spare time. It's a very interesting read. Came out of the blue. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This came out of the blue. When it came to certain leadership decisions that Julie Cromer had to make as the athletic director of Ohio, for some of them, I do believe that she made the right call. I do believe that she made the right call for some of these decisions that she made. Others, not so much, but some definitely were good, such as hiring Tim Albin in the first place. That was a good decision on her part. So, she had a hand in that. So, this other graphic that I'm going to share with you guys real fast to further illustrate what's going on here. Continuity at Ohio U, as I title it. It shows you the progression from Frank Solich, 2005 to 2020, Tim Albin, 2021 to 2024, and Brian Smith. We're now going forward with Brian Smith. And I can't stress this enough, guys. If you follow the Ohio Bobcats football team as closely as you need to, as you can, you would know that you would have to give Brian Smith a chance to keep this thing going. You got to trust what Brian Smith is doing here as the new head coach here. And in this graphic, I just go down saying this Bobcats fan perspective. We've read this story before. This isn't new. And what do I mean by that? It's like we've had many coaches and players come and go, not just recently, but throughout our history. We've seen many people come and go through Athens, Ohio to go to greener pastures, so to speak, to do other things. This is not new. This is not the first time this has ever happened. So keep that in mind. So we know what to do. We know how to handle this. Secondly, as a have not, quote unquote, as a have not, don't assume the take the money and run decision won't be made, because it's just been made on countless occasions, guys, with coaches, with an AD, with players, transfer portal. We've seen it happen just this past year, guys. Tim Albin left for Charlotte. Julie Cromer now has just left for LSU. And we've had quite a few players hit the transfer portal and leave, even though they said they would not leave Ohio. You know, you take the money and run. That is the name of the game right now for many of these people. And when it comes to having any sense of loyalty to a university, you name the university. Forget about Ohio University for a minute. You name the university. Is there any sense of loyalty right now for players, coaches, ADs? Is there? This is what happens when you deal with so much money, when you deal with so much resources and revenue sharing and all this other political nonsense. This is what happens. It's unfortunate, but this is what happens. Take the money and run. Am I wrong in saying that? Once you have a plan in place, believe in it, execute it, and see it through. Now, regardless of who ends up being the new athletic director for Ohio University, the fact of the matter is that there's got to be a plan in place. Uh, Everybody there in that building in Athens, they got to believe in that plan. They got to execute it, and they got to see it through. They can't just initially execute it and then forget about it the next year. They got to see it through. This is not like a 1 year thing. This is going to be like hopefully 5 or so years of a process, of a plan that you're going to put in place, and you got to be able to see it through. And that's part of the problem again with college athletics, is that a lot of these universities are not willing to see it through. They're not in it for the long haul. Whether you're in a power conference or a G number conference, they're not willing to see it through. And that's why you have a lot of instability in a lot of places right now. And that's just my opinion about that. Number 4, last listed here, we're entering a new era in college sports. Opt in and compete, or opt out and get left behind. And that's tying back into what Ohio University is going through right now. I mean, we're in a conference, the Mid-American Conference, where it's very uncertain where it's going. I mentioned it before when talking about Dr. John Steinbrecher, the MAC commissioner. He needs to do something. I'm going to keep saying it. John Steinbrecher, as the MAC commissioner, he needs to do something. He needs to do something quick. And it's very alarming to me when I'm seeing all these decisions being made by all these universities, whether it's Ohio or all these other universities in the MAC, having the trouble that they're having. Opt in and compete, fine. Find the revenue, find the resources to get in there and compete, or just opt out and get left behind, which is what I keep talking about concerning Akron and Kent State. If they're going to keep stumbling on themselves, then they just have to opt out and go back to FCS. As harsh as that sounds, and I don't want to see that happen, but if they keep messing around when it comes to internal stuff, such as what they've been going through, Akron and Kent State, just look it up. They might as well just opt out and just let the rest of the MAC figure out what they want to do. And in our case, Ohio's case, we have to figure out where we want to go. We just won the MAC in football last year, trying to keep that going, and we have a tough road ahead of us this year. We are at a turning point. It's just a matter of which turns are we going to take in order to keep going forward, and I hope it is going forward. And so I have one more thing to say about Julie Cromer, the athletic director, before I wrap this up, and that might be a little harsh in and of itself, but I'm going to read this bottom line here. Stephen's bottom line message to OU staff. What identity do you want your sports programs to take on? Are you going to be taken seriously, or are you just going to fade into the background and hope you just get by? Because I've seen both extremes already in college athletics throughout these last few years, and I'm hoping Ohio has a plan in place to be the former and not the latter. What do you want Ohio U to be? Self-explanatory there. What do you want Ohio U to be? We've been this school. We've had this sports program picture where we're just like not even second fiddle or like third or fourth fiddle to other Ohio schools. And clearly, guys, that's got to change. I'm being honest with you guys. That's got to change. And are we in it for the long run? It was good that we had success last year. We won the MAC championship finally, first time since 1968 in football. Great. But are we in it for the long run? Are we going to get back to the MAC championship game soon? Are we going to win multiple MAC championships? That's what we should be concerning ourselves with. We have to keep getting better. We have to keep making moves to get better in whatever way that needs to be done. So when you have turnover like this with either head coaches or athletic directors or any part of the staff, you have to at some point have that continuity. You have to have that stability. You have to just find that stability and stick with it. And one thing that I got to get to when it comes to Julie Cromer, because I don't want to be long-winded here for this talk. I know I have it here somewhere. Right here. This is a screenshot that I took not too long ago following the whole thing about Julie Cromer. I go up on Bobcat Attack, the message boards. It's where Ohio Bobcats fans go to talk about, Bobcat sports and all that. And caught these last few comments very interesting. It's under the message board topic, our AD's dog is sick. That's just the term they use. An Ohio Cat fan brought up, a couple good points here. I'm going to read it off for you real fast here. Well, this is good news. Cromer was no credit to Ohio University and did more damage than good, IMHO, in my honest opinion. I don't think she'll be missed. I would support Amy Dean to get the position. By the way, Amy Dean is the current deputy athletic director. She's a good administrator and is an Ohio gal through and through. That's what Ohio Cat Fan says. Though it pains me, I agree with SBH that Claudia, and then he goes on to say about that internally. And then the reply here from SBH is, help me understand what damage she did. And I don't want to hear any of the Albin, Ohio Cat Fan responds back, was just meh. Didn't do much of anything except polish up her NCAA resume. Was not liked by her employees and fostered a not-so-good work environment in the AD's office. This information was gathered totally independently of Bobcat 1996. Okay. Well, if that's to be believed, if what Ohio Cat Fan said is that to be, if that is to be believed, guys, I'm just going to come out and just say it. It's like, well, is it any wonder? Is it any wonder, guys, why this move was made? Why Julie Cromer stepped down as the Ohio athletic director and is now joining the staff at LSU? Because once upon a time back in February, way back in February of this year, as early as February, I started contacting the AD's office in Ohio. This is a true story, by the way. I contacted the AD's office. I wanted to get an interview going with Julie Cromer herself. I wanted that to be one of my first interviews going for this year for Steven Interviews You. And thankfully for me, I've been able to get 10 interviews for this year. So it turned out okay for me, ultimately. But when it comes to this, Julie Cromer, it's like now it puts it into better perspective as to why certain things happened. Initially, it sounded like there was interest from Julie Cromer and company that they wanted to do the interview, that they wanted me to interview Julie. And then all of a sudden, within like a couple weeks, I didn't hear anything back from them. And all of a sudden, Julie Cromer comes back, not herself, but one of her assistants comes back and tells me that, oh, we are no longer interested in this interview. At this time, we do not We cannot have this interview along those lines. It was not like an absolute no, but it was like definitely not at this time sort of thing. And, I'm not going to lie, it was one of those things that, bummed me out because I was looking forward to it. It was a sincere request. And, again, things worked out for me because I've had like 10 interviews with people ever since then. But it's just the idea that you're trying to get something started. You're trying to put your best foot forward. You're trying to, highlight a school that you follow, and you have all this other stuff going on. So this is why I say, on the other hand, I'm not that surprised. And Julie Cromer, she did do some good things as the AD of Ohio. She did. I'm giving her credit for the good things that she did. But for other things, I'm just going to be honest. Julie, see ya, wouldn't want to be ya. I know it's going to sound harsh, but it's like the next AD that Ohio University hires, he or she better be a true representative of Athens, Ohio, of southeastern Ohio, and the state of Ohio in general. And I really don't want to hear anything more about take the money and run. If you're not sincere about supporting Athens, Ohio, and the state of Ohio in general, then you should not be in that position. I'm going to be flat out honest. I'm hoping the next AD is going to be sincere about what he or she is going to do. That's all I'm going to say. So read that article on OhioBobcats.com when you guys have the chance. This is episode number 59 of Bobcat Corner. This is Stephen Vitt reporting again. Hope you guys like this content. If you like this video, please give this a like and please share this with your friends and other college football fans. I'll be back with more content very shortly. And yes, I was holding up a blue snowball microphone, testing stuff out.